Are Axanthic ball pythons the future of producing black and white snakes? Axanthic ball pythons is one of the first recessive mutations ever to be discovered, and Axanthic ball pythons has got a mixture of black, grey, and brown colorations, and it actually removes all yellow and red coloration in the animal itself. Axanthic ball pythons was somewhat forgotten in the earlier stages of the ball python genetic world, but in the last couple of years, Axanthic ball pythons has actually had a huge increase in demand, and I think it's because of the iconic animal, the Axanthic DG clown that Canova produced a couple of years ago. That animal really opened up the whole world for the Axanthic gene itself, and I think there's huge potential with the gene. So here we've got a beautiful Axanthic female, and she's actually 100% head for Desert Ghost. And getting back to the factor that Axanthics have got this beautiful silver tint to them, as you guys can see, is the contrast between the black coloration and then the silvery browns that this female's got. With the Axanthics, I think a lot of people were actually not working with the projects due to some of the animals browning out and losing that silver coloration as adults. But like I've said plenty of time with the ball pythons, I do believe there's somewhat of line breeding, and I think over the years the Axanthic colorations have actually just increased and become more better. And as you guys know, is Axanthic DGs is probably one of the best projects to be in, and I think that's why the demand for Axanthics slowly started to increase again. Here we've got a Blackhead Axanthic, and he's also head for DG. And as you guys know, is Blackhead is actually a darkening gene, so it tends to make the combos a lot more darker. With the Axanthic, it actually works incredibly well because it brings out the contrast between the black and the silvers even more. Blackhead is almost like a black back type of gene. It increased the amount of black pigment on the dorsal striping or the dorsal patterning of the animal. And when working it into Axanthic, as you guys can see, is we almost get the good contrast between the silver and the blacks. So the Blackhead is a great gene going forward in your Axanthic projects, because I feel if we add Orange Dream, Red Stripe, Yellow Belly, and other enhancing genes again to the Blackhead project, at the end of the day, we're going to have an animal who's got great contrast and has got some great coloration. So that's why I always say it's good to have a mixture of both darker and lighter genes in the collection in order to produce the ultimate animal between contrast and coloration. Then guys, here we've got actually a Blackhead Mojave Axanthic female. And as you guys can see, is Mojave is another great gene that actually works with Blackhead. What I love about Blackhead and Mojave is Mojave tends out just to increase the size of the alien heads. Yet again, going back to the dorsal striping, just increasing the amount of blacks in the Blackhead dorsal patterning. So Mojave is another great gene in Blackhead projects. And as you guys can see, is it actually made a huge difference in the Blackhead Axanthic project. It actually gives us a more of a silvery effect here in the side or the saddles of the animal. You can see the whites are a bit more silver compared to just a plain Blackhead Axanthic. And with this female, we've actually got two of these females, and I'm really excited for these females going into the darker combos in the Axanthic project. So we've got actually a GHI Yellow Belly Confusion head for Axanthic male, which will be going to one of these females next year to hopefully reproduce an ultimate dark animal with the gray saddles and really getting that contrast out of the animal. So I'm really excited about the Blackhead Axanthic projects. Like I said, we're going both the darker route with the project, and we're actually going to try and increase the coloration with Orange Dream, Yellow Belly, and a few of these enlightening genes. Here we've got a Axanthic double-head clown pied female. So she's just a plain Axanthic, but she's head for two other recessives. And this is a great baseline for our projects. As our collection is mainly focused on Desert Ghost, Clown, and Pied, this female has got two of our most essential genes, or she's head for two of the most essential genes that we've got in the collection. And she's a visual of a recessive. So going forward, if we take her, for instance, to a DG Clown Pied, we'll get Clown Pied, which will be 100% double hit for Axanthic and DG. And prior to actually a couple of years ago, we weren't heavily invested into the Axanthic projects. We used to do a lot of MJ line pairings or a lot of MJ line projects, but over the last couple of years, we've actually leaned more towards VPI. And the reason being is we actually think that VPI is more accessible. there's more combos to be reproduced, and in the general, how can you say, in general, it's just going to work better in our collection. So this is a great female for our collection. She's an Axanthic double-head clown pied, and I think she's going to have many great clutches for us. Here we've got an Axanthic clown male, and this is also VPI. And as you guys can see, this is actually a fully mature male. He's around 2 years old. He's actually successfully sired 2 clutches for us. And as you guys can see, as for Axanthic, he's actually kept the coloration extremely well. As you guys can still see the silvers. Unfortunately, he does have some browning on the dorsal patterning, but overall, he's really retained the coloration extremely well. It's really important when working with Axanthic, especially, is to work with the best animals from the start in order to have an ultimate black and white snake in the near future. So this is a great male for our projects going forward. This year, we actually bred him also to a Blackhead Axanthic female, where we're hopefully going to reproduce some Blackhead Axanthic head for clowns. And I think that's going to be an essential part in the future for our Blackhead, or actually for Axanthic clown projects, is to add Blackhead into that project. As you guys know, I love the Blackhead clowns, and I still believe to the date it's one of the best simple co-dominant mutations to get into the clown project. So a great male for our future pairings, and I'm really excited to have him in the collection. So guys, we actually had our first full clutch of VPI Axanthics hatch out, and these are all 100% head for DG. So the pairing of this clutch was OD Yellow Belly Fire Pastel Axanthic, and she was bred to our Axanthic DG. So all of these babies are visual Axanthic, and they head for Desert Ghost. The mother is a real stunning animal, and as you guys will see, she actually kept her coloration quite well into adulthood. So I'm really excited to have her in our collection. So the first animal we've got here is just a plain yellow belly Axanthic head DG. As you guys can see, yellow belly doesn't do much to the Axanthic project, but it does increase the side patterning, or the side pattern of the animal. And overall, the coloration is just a bit more crisp and a bit more cleaner. But a real stunning animal, and I really believe going forward with the VPI projects, we need to have enlightening genes in order to keep the coloration the best. But let's go check his clutch mates. There were some real awesome animals in this clutch. So here we've got 2 enlightening genes with the Axanthic. This is an OD Fire Axanthic head for DG. And you guys can just see how clean this animal is. With it being fire, it is not as extreme as the yellow belly versions. The OD yellow belly would have had a lot more, how can you say, washed out patterning on the dorsal and on the side itself. The OD and the fire just cleans out the combination extremely well. And as you guys can see, the fire brings out a lot of bands in this animal. And I think when we do produce the visual DG version of this animal, it's going to be extremely clean and even brighter than the standard Axanthic DGs that we've got. Such an incredible male, and I think this is actually going to be one of our holdbacks of the clutch. We're super excited to have something OD Axanthic head for DG in the collection. I think that's great baseline for our future projects. We are super excited just to announce that we just launched our Patreon page. We're going to have some great behind the scenes footage and some major savings on animals. Click the link down below. Here we've got an Orange Dream Firefly Axanthic head for DG. And as you guys can see, pastel does actually wonders in this combo. It really gives it this soft coloration, a really great contrast between the black coloration and the white or the silver coloration. And I think this animal just going forward is just going to get lighter and lighter and really just keep the coloration extremely well. So we actually did hatch out a yellow belly, or OD yellow belly Firefly Axanthic head for DG. So let's compare those 2 animals to each other. Okay guys, so here we've got the OD Firefly Axanthic, and then we've got here the OD Firefly yellow belly Axanthic. And as you guys will see, the yellow belly just increased the coloration and also increased the saddles, or the white or the gray in the saddles itself, really broadening up the teardrops and just expanding the pattern. So yellow belly is a great gene to add into especially Axanthic combos, because it cleans out the patterning so much and really gives us that grayish tint to the animal. So I'm really excited for these projects in the near future. I think the Axanthic DG projects has got huge potential, and it's definitely a project that we're going to work with quite a lot. Okay guys, and in my opinion, the ultimate project for the Axanthics would be the Axanthic DGs. So here we've got two Axanthic DGs, and these were actually produced by GSR here locally in South Africa. So huge credit to him. We actually just borrowed his two hatchlings for this video. But as you guys can see, this is basically, in my opinion, one of the best ball pythons that a one can produce. We've got a great contrast between the blacks and the grays. It's almost got a gray bluish tint to them. And as you guys can see, it's just two visually stunning animals. I think with the Axanthic project in the near future, it's going to be very important to actually incorporate Desert Ghost or Hypo into the projects. We don't have an Axanthic Hypo animal here now, but I think Axanthic Hypo projects is equally as great as Axanthic DGs. So two awesome animals, and we're really excited to see their growth. So just to finish off the video, I thought let me show you guys the comparison between a hatchling Axanthic DG and then a sub-adult Axanthic DG. So both of these animals yet again are from GSR. So this is a Axanthic DG female, and I think she's around 18 months of age, and this is Axanthic DG, which is around a month old. And as you guys can see, they do change a bit, but ultimately they still look very similar. And in my opinion, they actually do get better as adults. So an awesome animal, and I think with the Axanthic projects, to have the ultimate black and white snake, you're going to either have to have Desert Ghost or Hypo in the combo. You can achieve some awesome animals with codominant genes in the Axanthic projects, but I think ultimately Desert Ghost and Hypo is a great animal to have.